Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another interesting combination of shell and choke to try out that I do have some decent hopes for it being an okay performer. We've seen a little bit of mixed results out of these shells so far, but this choke has done well in the few times we've tested it, so I guess we'll see what we can get from this combination when we put the two of them together. But as for the shells we've got today, I brought out some of the Hevi-Shot Hevi-Metal Turkey loads, but these ones are the 12 gauge, 3.5 inch, 1.5 ounce payload of 4-shot, moving about 1450 feet per second. Now Hevi-Shot has been a little bit of a mixed bag for me over the years. Some of their stuff is decent, other stuff is disappointing. These have been somewhere floating right in the middle from what I can remember. It's been a while since we've tested them, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't believe these are actually the standard Hevi-Shot, 13 grams per cc type of stuff. I believe these are something like a bismuth load, which is why they are a 4-shot, and they're only a 1.5 ounce payload in a 3.5 inch shell. So definitely a little bit of an oddball loading, but I guess we'll see what it does through today's choke. But as for the shotgun we're going to run them through today, I brought out my Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag. This one has a 28 inch barrel on it, but for the choke, we've got a Carlson's ported turkey choke in the gun today. You would think it would be a more interesting name than that, but Carlson's just calls it their ported turkey choke. It's a 675 constriction, and it does have ports on the side, but other than that, it's just a straight up smooth constriction on the inside, nothing fancy going on. But we have seen some decent results from it before, so I guess we'll see how it does with these Hevi-Shot 4s today. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. The turkey paper's at 40 yards, and we've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity from the shells. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see what these Hevi-Shot Hevi-Metal 4s can give us through the 835 with the Carlson's ported 675. Is it going to work out, or are we going to see another pretty mediocre result from a Hevi-Shot load? I don't know, but let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, so that shell gave us 1400 feet per second through the chronograph. The boss claim is 1450, so we didn't quite see their boss claim, but 1400 is still getting up and moving on out for a turkey shell. Even if it is a bismuth turkey load, that's still moving a little bit quick, so maybe starting to push them too fast here. I don't know, but that velocity is definitely no slouch. But how did they actually pattern through that Carlson's ported 675? Let's go down and check it out. Alright, well, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and I would say we are pretty mediocre overall. Definitely nothing impressive here. Now, first up, yes, we do have a dead turkey here. There are 2 through the brain, and several more right down at the bottom of the spine there. That would have absolutely gotten the job done, and although we definitely do not have a very tight or very hot core area, there's nowhere on that paper left or right that the bird could move to and still get away from you, so it's good enough out to 40 yards to get the job done. Would I push it any farther than that? Probably not. That is pretty well the limit. Now, overall, looking at the pattern here, it's not anything great. It's very much middle of the road at best for these shells. I think we have seen better from them, but I think this is also pretty typical from what I remember from the last few times we tested them. So yes, they are technically good enough out at 40 yards to get you a turkey, but it's not a shell or a choke combo that I would want to turkey hunt with. So moving in here and looking a little bit closer at our pattern, we may have favored just a touch to the right, but it really didn't make much of a difference. We really don't have any kind of tightening in our core, whether it was center or a touch to the right, wouldn't have really made a difference. Outside of that, I mean, we pretty well covered most of the rest of the paper there. Around the edges, we definitely get some nice noticeable voids in there, no doubt about it. So definitely not the ideal turkey hunting pattern, without a doubt. Now for wing shooting, these are a non-toxic shell, so you could use these for ducks or something like that, and that combination would do just fine for that. But we're turkey hunting here, not waterfowl hunting, so I think we kind of want a tighter pattern than that. Now for what it might be worth, if we did favor just a touch to the right, the middle, say, I don't know, 12, 13 inches there is relatively even, so it's not completely splotchy necessarily, but that doesn't mean it's a very nice pattern. It's not a combination that I would want to use, like I already said, so yet another kind of disappointing result result for a heavy shot load, and I unfortunately don't think that's super surprising for a lot of people either. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, heavy shot loads in general have been very hit or miss for me, and of course, in at 20 to 30 yards, you're going to be more than good enough with that. So if that's a combo you had, keep it inside of 40 and you'll still be fine. But I was definitely hoping to see a little better out of these through that Carlson's ported 675. But that's why you test a bunch of different combinations and see what works and what doesn't, because that combo gave us pretty much the same very mediocre at best kind of results like we've typically seen from these, unfortunately. And here's the wad out of that shell. Definitely nothing fancy to see. It's very typical heavy shot loading type of stuff here. There's nothing stuck down in there, but these pedals are a little banged up. You've got a couple little pinholes, and this one's kind of bent farther than the rest. I don't think it's anything too detrimental necessarily, or anything too out of the ordinary. So nothing that I would say is really special to see here as far as the wad goes. Alright y'all, well, what do you think about that pattern right there? I think at this point we've pretty much already covered it all. It's good enough to get the job done to 40 yards, but it's really not impressive. It might not be the worst turkey pattern we've ever seen, but it's very mediocre at best, I would say. But that kind of pattern isn't too unusual for what we have seen out of those heavy shot, heavy metal 4s before. I think we've gotten better out of them, so I do think they have potential to be a little bit better than that, but this combination just was not it. I was hoping that 675 Carlson's ported choke would be something they liked, but clearly I don't think it really helped them out much at all. But that's why you try a bunch of different combos and see what works and what doesn't, because sometimes what you think might work isn't really the best combination for them. So I guess leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of those heavy shot, heavy metal turkey loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern you would hunt with, or would you want to see it more condensed or more evenly distributed than that? And what other shell or choke combos do you want to see us try with either that Carlson's ported 675 or these heavy shot, heavy metal 4s? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description down below if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.